Hey, Zidausa, I'm the founder of the Mimic Method and the creator of this elemental sounds checklist. In this video, I'm just going to do a quick recap of these 39 sounds. If you want an in-depth analysis of each sound, how to hear it, how to pronounce it, how to master it, then I strongly recommend you sign up for our masterclass where I go over in detail each of these sounds. But for now, I'm just going to quickly run through them to give you a general feel of what's going on in the Spanish language. So starting off, we have our fixed vowels. When we use the term fixed, we're referring to the tongue position when you're articulating the vowel. Fixed tongue position means when you say the a, I, e, o, u, your tongue is not moving at all. Now, this is very important because some of the most commonly mispronounced sounds in Spanish are the e and o from English speakers, because in English, we typically move our tongue during these sounds. So when I say, hey, I'm going, hey, my tongue is actually moving upwards, but in Spanish, it's come, my tongue is fixed. So don't mispronounce it come or pena or lleva. It's come, pena, lleva. And it's not oso or algo, it's oso, algo. Another thing to pay attention to is your tongue position. It's different in these sounds than the A, E, and O are in English. So listen to the native speaker audio and try to match the tongue position exactly. Moving on, we have our moving vowels. These are ones where your tongue does move. So we have I, oi, a, ow, ew, o. And just like before, you want to make sure you're starting at the right tongue position with this, e, o, and a. But also, you want to make sure you're ending in the right position. One very common mispronunciation error from English speakers is ending too short, because our moving vowels end short. So instead of saying pies or I, an American might say I and pies. All right, so it sounds different because the tongue is not going on the right path. So listen to the native speaker there and try to mimic that. Same goes for the ow and ew and o. Focus on ending on a clear oo vowel and not getting lazy to say, auto, pausa. Say auto, pausa. Listen close and mimic. Now we have our consonants. We divide Spanish consonants into two categories, easy and tricky. The easy consonants are easy because they exist in English and most other languages, so we're not going to cover them here for the most part, except a couple of exceptions. The v and the z, they don't actually exist in Spanish, but we include them here because they do occur. You will hear people say them when they're speaking fast. And basically in these kind of situations where the voicing from this G bleeds over into the previous sound of F. So instead of saying afgano, they'll say afgano. And if you want to know what I mean by voicing, all that kind of stuff, take the masterclass. We tell you exactly what that means and all the other things you need to know about how to use your mouth to speak any foreign language. Same here, by the way, comunismo is how you'd say it slow, but you might hear someone say comunismo when they're speaking fast, comunismo, okay? Moving through, another thing I want to point out is this sound, the ch sound. However, we use different symbols from IPA often because we don't, for reasons for teaching, we don't want people to get confused with sounds, so we make up our own symbols. And you have IPA symbols you won't recognize as well, like this one from tengo, venga, or this sound from niña, piña. So you'll learn how those sounds are actually made and how they're truly different from a physical perspective in the masterclass. But for now, they should be pretty straightforward for you to learn. Now we have the tricky consonants. These are the ones that people struggle to hear and pronounce correctly. Starting off, we have the T, D, and N. Look at this little kind of hat thing beneath the D, T, and N. And what this represents is that you're articulating these sounds with the blade of the tongue rather than the tip. In English, we articulate these sounds always with the tip of the tongue. Tu, tal, todo, cada, antes, canta. But in Spanish, they articulate with the blade, which is just beyond the tip, which makes a softer sound. Tu, tal, minuto, todo, cada, antes, canta, anda. So when listening to the native speaker, see if you can listen to that difference and mimic it using the right part of the tongue. And then we have these three sounds. These are kind of like the soft versions of B, D, and G, respectively. Sabe, uva, nueva, todo, cada, nada, miedo, agua, luego, digo. So Spanish people use these sounds a lot, especially in the Caribbean, when they're speaking fast, because they're easier to make than the B, D, and G, so it saves them time. So if you're having trouble speaking Spanish as quickly as native speakers do, these three sounds will be your salvation here, and you'll learn all about them in the masterclass. And finally, we have the th, h, y, r, and ra. So starting with these three, this is a sound you mostly only hear in Spain, plaza, zumo, zapatos. This sound you hear all over. Is a sound, so it's like a harder H. Ojo, dije, viejo, baja, except it's pronounced completely different from the H, so you'll learn how to pronounce that in the course. Ja is a really difficult one for a lot of people. Ja, beja, allí, allá, llama. You hear this in lots of different dialects of Spanish. Really good one to learn. And then, of course, everyone knows the single R and double R. This is the alveolar flap, ir, hora, eres, cara, and the alveolar trill, razón, perro, zorro. So two different sounds, completely produced differently, different technique for producing it, different mechanics. And once again, we review each of these sounds in depth, covering all the most common mispronunciation errors, how to train your ear to hear them, how to train your mouth to pronounce it, to create the motor coordination and musculature you need to hit these sounds at speed. All of that in our Elemental Sounds Masterclass. But I hope you enjoyed this quick recap, and I hope you get a lot out of the native speaker audio. That's what you want to focus on most, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to mimic the native speakers. All right, thanks for watching.